Yeah, we are in the midst of yeah.
Hey guys, this is Backdraft and welcome to another episode on Create Above and Beyond. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you love the Create mod, Minecraft automation, and redstone engineering, then this is definitely the channel and the series for you. So be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video in this series. So in the last episode, we finally finished all of the industry for getting our inductive mechanisms up and running, and it is all right over here. I currently have it disabled because we're actually overproducing the coils and we're not producing precision mechanisms fast enough. I've actually done an update to our precision mechanism line over here to speed it up a bit, and I think it should actually catch up eventually. So what we've done is, we actually did this on a stream, is we set up a whole mess of spouts that are spewing out water over our crystal seeds and creating crystals as fast as humanly possible. That was the bottleneck before, and as you can see, the kinetic mechanisms actually aren't backing up anymore, and we're producing our electron tubes super fast. After we added all of those spouts, the next bottleneck was actually our water production. So what I had to do is I actually got rid of the pump that we had way out there on the ocean, and I set up a little water pool down here, and we have actually underneath our tank, we have 3 mechanical pumps pumping the water in super fast, and that's actually able to keep up now and then some with all of the spouts. So our precision mechanism assembly line should be optimized for now. And if you haven't noticed already, I started decorating a little bit in the middle here just to kind of bring everything together. So the first thing I want to point out is I've added this little barricade along the edges of the factory floor. So all of that space out there is for machines and automation, and everything outside is just our walkway and all of our miscellaneous industry out here. And over on this side, I've set up a little bit of a command center. This is all just decorative blocks, but I think it looks really cool. We got all kinds of switches and monitors and everything going on to control various parts of the factory, little stools for us to sit on at each station and control the production of all of our mechanisms. And over here we have our mission control conglomeration area where we are figuring out everything we need to do to get to the moon. This is our goal right there, that tiny little, hey, I'm talking here, get it, wait. This is our goal, that tiny little dot right there to get to the moon. Of course, next to our meeting table, we have all kinds of data coming in from various parts of the factory, giving us statistics and improvements and everything from the various parts of the factory. Super cool. So let me know what you guys think of the decorations and if you have any more tips and tricks for our current setup in the factory. So in this episode, there's a couple things I want to do. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the end and fight the Ender Dragon, because I want to get chapter 3A done next, and that is the Enderium machines. So we need to go to the end to get these things, the tall poised bushes, so we can make Enderium ingots and then our abstruse mechanisms to make the Enderium machines. I know I actually skipped chapter 2A with the zinc machines and the infernal mechanisms, but I'm actually waiting to do the Enderium machines first so that we can make ender, what are they called? The ender tanks, I think is what they're called, which allow us to transfer fluid between dimensions. So that means we'll be able to transfer lava out of the nether and bring it into the overworld, and that'll make it super easy to do the infernal mechanisms. And once we get Enderium machines going, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our absolutely massive, I'm talking massive, silver farm. So I have the design ready to go. We're actually going to be plopping it next to the base behind me over there, which is the opposite side of the base from the power plant. We actually got the original design for this silver farm from my friend Mr. Yorkshire Panda. Thank you so much. Shout out to him. He has a channel as well. I'll leave the link down in the description. You guys can go check him out. But this design, like I said, is huge, and it produces a stack of silver every 30 to 40 seconds, and it is going to be super epic. But we need to get Enderium machines first, because all of the thermal machines that we're going to need, we actually need the resonant upgrades for those. Let me show you guys that real quick so you know what I'm talking about. These things right here, resonant integral components, and we need Enderium machines and redstone to make these. So all of the machines from the thermal series mod, which is I forgot the name of it before, thermal series. So we need to make those, and we need to make a bunch of these upgrades as well for all of the machines. So the trade stations are what we need to upgrade those with. These are actually from the thermal expansion mod. So these are going to take the resonant upgrades and a few other upgrades. And like I said, at the silver farm, we're going to set it up and we're going to have a bunch of different trade stations going to buy up a bunch of items that we're going to need for the future of this series. But first things first, I actually need to go find a stronghold and fight the Ender Dragon. So we're going to go do that first, and I'll keep you guys posted on our journey. Okay, so the Eyes of Ender have been pulling me to the northwest of my base. We've gone a little bit of ways away, and I've actually found this really, really cool village. I think we'll do some looting out here, and I'll have to mark this on the map too in case we ever need villagers from over here. I mean, we do have the village right next to our base, but yeah, this is a pretty cool little village for us to explore. So we're going to keep progressing off this way. I think we're getting closer because the eye is starting to get a little bit more touchy. Wow, according to the eyes, the stronghold is actually right under the village. So that didn't actually take too long. I've just been wandering for a few minutes. What is that another meteorite? I think that might be another meteorite. We might have to go check that out. But anyway, that's how far away it is from our base. That's not too far at all. So we're going to get to digging and we're going to find that portal. Well, that actually was super easy. We kind of fell right on top of it. I've got everything that we need to go into the end now. We're going to fight the dragon. I think that I'm going to head to the surface real quick and just make a drop shoot right down on top of this so that when we want to come back, we can just follow the marker right to the drop shoot and end up right at the portal. But we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to hop on in and we're going to fight that dragon. Okay, everything that we don't need to fight the dragon, I'm throwing into this chest here, especially my backpack and my good tools. The only good tool I'm bringing is my sword. If we lose that, I guess I'll just have to make another one because we're going to need that to fight the dragon. Everything else I'm leaving back behind, setting my spawn. And let's do it! Hopefully we don't fall into the void. Okay, great. All right, let's get that dragon killed. Okay, one more shot. Come on. Sorry for the loud noise. Come on out of there. Come on. Any day now. Any day now. Any day now. I just don't want the stuff to drop into the portal. Here we go. Done. Ender Dragon down. Alrighty, we're gonna head up to the outer end right now. Let's see what we get. And oh gosh. Really? Of course I'm above the void. Well, alrighty. We're gonna have to find that poise plant. I'll probably grab some other things while we're here too. I'm gonna see if we can find an end city as well so we can get our elytra, because that means we'll be able to fly finally. That'll be super dope. But anyway, got some exploring to do. Let's get to it. Okay, we found one of these poise forest things, and what is that? Is it passive? Is it gonna kill me? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. It's like I guess it's passive. Booflo. And a Buffalo baby. Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, yeah, you're good. You're good. Really? Oh, okay. Let's just get our thingy and get out of here. Oh, there's another one. Alrighty, still no end city yet. We've covered quite a bit of ground, actually. Nothing yet. I haven't been able to find any. The minimap is actually kind of OP for finding an end city, because I'll see one pop up on the minimap if I can't see it in person. But anyway, I did find this ruined portal that actually spawns in the end. I don't know what mod this is from, but you actually get an achievement for it called the Useless Portal. And there was a bit of loot in there. There's actually quite a bit of gold, actually. So we snagged that up. So we're going to keep looking for the end city. I actually wanted to show you guys one more thing that I did before we left and came to the end. I made this ender pouch, which is from the ender storage mod, and essentially what it is it is an ender chest that you can actually carry with you in your inventory and open up directly from your inventory. Now what I did was I took my backpack and actually put it inside of this, and that way if I end up falling into the void, I won't lose everything. So that's super useful. Highly recommended if you guys are going to be running around somewhere where you are not so fond of dying. So we're gonna keep running around. Hopefully we find a city pretty soon. Okay, we finally found our first end city, pretty far away from where we actually came in, but it doesn't look like there is a ship with it. So I think we'll still go raid it anyway. That was a large cluster of endermen spawning. We'll go raid it anyway and see what loot we can come up with. But I really want to find one with a ship so that we can get our elytra. So we'll keep on exploring. Finally, we found one with a ship. I think this is the unluckiest I've ever been with end cities. I'm usually pretty lucky. We had to travel travel pretty far from where we came in, all the way down here, as opposed to where we actually finally found the ship. So we're gonna loot this bad boy up, and then we're gonna run back home and hopefully not die. Alrighty, we just finished looting the city. We got our elytra finally, and we got actually, I think it's enough for 9 shulker boxes. One more shell, and we would have had enough to get 10 shulker boxes, which is really awesome. So yeah, I think at this point, I'm probably just gonna dump everything into this ender chest that I found in the city, and then plummet to my death, so we can just get out of here and get back to the overworld, because I really don't feel like walking all that way to get back. So it's quite the journey. If I had some rockets, maybe I could fly back. Actually, one thing I did find, is it in my backpack? It is, here it is. The Orb of Temporary Flight, which actually lasts 5 minutes. I think it gives you creative flight for 5 minutes. That might help us to just fly on back. That way we don't have to worry. I don't know. We'll see. I might save that. I mean, now that we got the elytra, we can just have creative flight whenever we want. So I don't know. Either way, we're gonna go back to the overworld. So I decided to just use the orb, and it is really crazy to be creatively flying in survival. It's pretty cool. Actually, it gave us 10 minutes. I don't know why it was 10 minutes. It said 5 on it, but either way, we're gonna get back and we're not gonna have to kill ourselves. And we're home and still have about 4.5 minutes left on our temporary flight. Look at the base from the sky. It looks super cool. But anyway, we're gonna hop on inside and get cracking with chapter 3A. So to make Enderium machines, we need abstruse mechanisms. And essentially these are an Enderium ingot and an inductive mechanism inside of an induction smelter. We already got the inductive mechanism, so we're good there, but these Enderium ingots, to get these, you need a tall poise bush, a silver ingot, and an ender dust, all in an induction smelter to get the Enderium ingot. Now, we're good on poise bushes and ender dust, but we don't have a flow of silver yet. We do have our small silver farm, but that's probably not going to be enough to keep up. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up our silver farm first, and then feed some of the silver from that over into our Enderium ingot production line. So I've kind of set up a temporary little base camp over here for machines that need redstone flux. I've just dumped a stack of dried kelp blocks over here. I have an induction smelter and a trade station where I was buying up a bunch of invar. Now I need a lot of invar because what we're going to do before we get started on any of this is set up a centralized power plant. I was gonna say power plants, but that's kind of what I've been calling the big building. So we have our create kinetic power kind of going on over there, but I'm also going to add in a bunch of Sterling dynamos over there, maybe like 6 to 8 of them, and then connect up a centralized invar flux duct line to power all of the machines that we're eventually going to need in the base. So for the record, this invar flux duct actually transfers redstone flux between blocks and machines. So we're gonna have centralized power. We're going to feed all the kelp blocks actually into the Sterling dynamos, and the kelp blocks, I think each kelp block produces like 40,000 RF, which is a ton, and we're producing way more kelp blocks than we need to keep up with the flywheels that are over there. So I'm gonna set up centralized power, and from there, then we're gonna get started on the silver farm actually. So, and then once the silver farm is done, then we're gonna get the abstruse mechanisms going. But we're probably going to need to manually make a few abstruse mechanisms first, because we're going to need some of those resonant upgrades. I can never remember the exact name. It's really long. The resonant integral components. We're going to need some of these for the silver farm, so we're going to have to manually craft some abstruse mechanisms to start with. But anyway, let's hop over to the power plant. Over in the power plant, I have set up 8 Sterling dynamos, and they're all being fed with kelp blocks. Like I said, we are producing way more than enough kelp blocks to keep up with the flywheels. The drawer over here, which is technically our overflow, has over 11,000, almost 12,000 dried kelp blocks, so we should be just fine to keep the flywheels going and to keep these Sterling dynamos going as well. Now the thing is, I could always add more of these if I need more power, or I can actually upgrade them. You can put those resident upgrades into here as well to increase their throughput. So what I've done is the same thing that I've done with the flywheels, is I have an invar flux duct line going all the way over to the base, and we're hooking it up to all of the machines in the base that need RF. So that's the first thing done. Now let's see if we can make some abstruse mechanisms and get a couple resonant upgrades. I think I need 3 to start off with for the silver farm. Plus there's a lot more resource collection we have to do to get all the materials for that because it is quite big. So I realized that we need to be able to duplicate the tall poised bushes. And to do this, we can use the phytogenic insulator invar machine. So to make one of these bad boys, we need lumium gears, and to get lumium, I figured we could just do it like this. If we put glowstone, let me show you guys this. So energized glowstone, we put glowstone into a magma crucible, we get 1 millibucket of energized glowstone, and 1 millibucket of energized glowstone is enough to get us 1 lumium ingot. I can't quite find where it is, but anyway, I got the magma crucible going here. We've got 3,000 energized glowstone so far. Once we get 8, we'll get 8 total lumium ingots, and then we can take those lumium ingots and craft them into lumium gears, and then use the lumium gears to create the phytogenic insulator, and then finally use the phytogenic insulator to duplicate our poised bushes. It's quite the process to manually craft up some of the what are they called? The Enderium mechanisms. I can't keep track of all of these. What are they called? Abstruse mechanisms. So we're gonna keep chugging along. Still lots to do. Okay, so we got the poised bush production going. It's kind of slow right now because the phytogenic insulator takes pretty long to operate. So the poised bush has to be converted into the poised cluster, I think it's called. Yeah, then the poised cluster is converted into a slime ball and 3 poised bushes, and then the poised bushes turn into tall poised bushes. So each round gets us 2 additional poised bushes, and we're gonna need, 24 of them to make the 3 resonant upgrades that we need, because we need 3 Enderium machines for a total of 24 abstruse mechanisms. So I'm gonna make my first resonant upgrade actually, because that will drastically improve this temporarily. I actually created a hardened upgrade, which is just a copper machine and a redstone dust, just to make this a little bit faster. But we're gonna craft our first one of these manually. Like I said, we need 3 for the silver farm, so we'll craft 1 right away so that we can speed up this process and get the rest of the poised bushes that we need. So I'm gonna manually take this silver actually and dump it into my smeltery so that we can get the silver ingots we need, and then we'll go from there. And I'll see you guys when we have the resonant upgrades. I don't want to keep boring you guys, so we're gonna get the silver farm going, and I'll cut to that right now. Everything is now ready to get the silver farm going. Don't be fooled by that quick transition. That was a lot of work that went into that. Several hours. We did a lot of it on a live stream, but some of the bulk of the materials we had to collect up. We had to collect over 7,300 dirt, over 7,000 sweet berries. It took forever to get this stuff. Over 4,000 white concrete, and then a bunch of other random stuff, all going into the silver farm. We also flattened out this area over here. This is where the farm is going to go. It is super tall, actually taller than the mega base, and it's probably going to take several hours even for the schematic cannon to finish this bad boy up. But we're gonna do this in the form of a third-person time-lapse so you can watch it be built block by block. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's roll that music. enjoyed that time lapse, here is the finished product, and it is working like crazy. But once again, do not be fooled by that quick time lapse and transition. This is several days, several hours later, even after the time lapse was done, because there was a lot of little housekeeping things we had to do. For some reason, some of the stuff didn't place, like the harvesters for some reason didn't place, and a couple other things. Sometimes there's just a couple buggy things that happen. So I had to spend a few hours and get everything in place, but we are now fully up and running. So we are now farming sand, diamonds, lead, invar, redstone, brass, zinc, nickel, ender pearls, blaze rods, obsidian, gold, and copper, and of course silver that we're eventually going to be feeding in to making the abstruse mechanisms. So the time lapse itself, actually, sorry about that, I ended up getting shot by a skeleton, I think, halfway through, so I ended up losing a bit of it, but it still should have been pretty cool. So from the outside, this is exactly how this is working. So each of the towers has 16 floors of sweet berries, and we are harvesting all of those and feeding them into a central trade station and exchanging them for silver on the inside. So that's all that's in the towers. It's nothing too crazy, but let's take a look at what's going on in there. So here we are inside of the farm. This is what we got going on. So both of the farms in the towers are feeding into this central trade station here. So what we're doing is we have this thing beefed up with the resonant integral upgrades, and for the trade station we have flux linkage amplifiers, which increases the speed that it is able to sell the berries at. So as you can see, it's able to sell I think it's 8 berries per silver super fast, so that it can keep up with the farms. Now for power over here, we actually have 2 of these numismatic dynamos, and what numismatic dynamos do is they convert silver into RF. Each of these are also fully upgraded as well. For these, we're using auxiliary reaction chambers along with the resonant integral upgrades. So it's essentially infinite power because we're feeding silver into each of those, and it's quite awesome. So they're both powering the trade station over here and all of the trade stations up here that is generating our items. You can see some of the items flowing into their corresponding drawers up here. So each one of these, I don't have any upgrades on these trade stations. I don't really think it's necessary, but you know, we got everything we want to farm in each of these trade stations. And like I said, of course, we're farming raw silver as well. The silver farm is finally up and running. I can't wait to see what we can do and what advancements we can make with this bad boy. It's going to be super awesome. And if I didn't mention it before, I can't remember if I did. The original design for this farm is done by my friend Yorkshire Panda. Shout out to them. I'll leave a link to their channel down in the description. Of course, the design, I put my own design on it, put my own palette on it as well, and I think it turned out super cool. Of course, leave it down in the comments if you guys have any questions or if you're interested in the schematic. Now, I know we didn't finish the abstruse mechanisms, but unfortunately, I'm out of time for this episode, so we're gonna have to end it. If you enjoyed it, please don't hesitate to hit that thumbs up, and if you're looking forward to future episodes and Above and Beyond, then hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. I'll see you guys again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we are in the place to be. Yeah.